This is like play for us.
Yeah.
Hey, we are back. This is going to be, for the next 30 minutes, very exciting. You know, we just did a real estate show, and now we're going to be doing our next 30-minute show. This is Ask the Experts. You're probably used to us being on from 5 to 6 on Thursday. Now we are on every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7. And the reason why I love doing this next show is this is our audience: estate planning, age, finance, everything. This is our audience. And what's so cool about today is attorney Paul Labiner has brought his son, Brandon. And I feel like, wow, you guys look so much alike. It's amazing.
And also an attorney.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But now, he told me that you were never a very good son. He was always punishing you. You never went to school. Here he is. He finished law school. Did you know that when you were younger, you wanted to be an attorney? You grew up with your dad as an attorney.
You know, I remember seeing my father, I guess it was 94, and he was doing some sort of similar radio show in New York, and I remember seeing his face on TV, and I was just mesmerized, like thinking my dad was a superstar and he was on, you know.
Well,
he's a superstar to me and always will be. Let's just leave it at that.
Thank you, Brandon. That
Well,
is
your
so
dad's
sweet.
a good guy.
Right,
You know?
he is.
And so, now, where'd you go to law school?
I went to Nova Law School.
Okay, good school.
University of Florida undergrad.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, so I went to Nova High School, then I went to UF, and then I went to Nova Law School. So the joke my parents make is I went to Nova, then to college, then back to Nova.
Okay. So, you think your dad's going to mind us taking up a little bit of his time?
I
Not
think
at
he
all.
wanted this to...
So, how did you decide you wanted to go into personal injury?
I kind of fell into it, but I'm enjoying personal injury. It always keeps me on my toes. And I'm also helping. It's interesting because he's also my employer. So knowing when to say Paul or Dad is kind of weird, but Paul is also, he's also employed me in his trust estates and asset planning part of his business. So I'm dipping my hands in a little bit of everything.
How long have you been in practice?
4 years already.
Okay.
Crazy.
So I got this crazy question I've got to ask you because we're really upfront and honest.
Sure.
So you see all these attorneys on buses and the big signs and TV, and here you are just going into practice. Is it hard to get clients with all that other stuff out there?
I don't think so. I mean, a lot of the clients that we have are referrals from previous clients. It's based on the work that we do. So if we make our previous clients happy, they'll refer us out. That's honestly how we get most of our business, just word of mouth.
Wow, amazing. I got to tell you something. This just happened. My fiance's son was hit by a car.
Sorry to hear
A lot
that.
of damage.
Sure.
Listen to this. He gets a phone call. This guy says he's with the insurance company and he wants to do a settlement. And he said, you know, we take 30% out.
Right.
Well, first I'm going, that doesn't make sense. This is not your attorney. This is the attorney for and they're going to take the 30. Something wasn't right. It was an attorney saying that he was with the insurance company. And anyway, I got to tell you, my Renee's son, if he's not hurt, he doesn't want any money.
Sure.
He turned down $40,000 about 5 years ago. He said, "I'm not hurt. I'm not going to do it."
Yeah.
Steve,
you know, not everybody would do that.
That's true. Obviously he's my son.
Yeah, yes. If I closed my eyes, I knew he's your son.
But, in terms of the way Brandon practices law in conjunction with, the major billboards and, we can't compete. Those guys are spending millions of dollars in terms of advertising. And, and unfortunately, I don't think that you should be making determinations in terms of your legal experience and legal contacts based upon a billboard that you might see on
Absolutely.
on Interstate 95. What's nice about us is that we are a boutique operation. Brandon, although is relatively young in his legal career, has had a tremendous amount of experience.
Looks like a bulldog to me.
And
Thank you.
you make reference to one of the things that are most troublesome in this area, and that is that there's some very aggressive attorneys out there that are doing very unethical things.
Look what this guy just did.
To secure clients, and that's just not the way we do things. I think, Steve, you know
I
me,
know that.
you know
I
me well
know.
enough that's integrity, honesty, and doing right by the client is always our precedence and
Well,
our
I know that's
priority.
how you've always run your practice.
Absolutely, and that comes back and pays off in spades, time and time again.
Absolutely. So there's always auto accidents going on. I guess auto accidents is the biggest part of your practice, or is it slip and falls?
It's mostly auto accidents, slip and falls, trip and falls, the occasional dog bite and medical malpractice case, but which is funny because we have 2 dogs at our office, actually, Shayna and Gabby. But it's mostly car accidents, yes.
Okay, tell everybody the areas that because I know some PI attorneys don't they might not handle wrongful death or medical malpractice or workers' comp. So tell everybody the areas you cover.
We cover mostly bodily injury related to automobile accidents, slip and falls, trip and falls. We do
That's trucks too, or
Right.
boats.
trusts, pedestrians, motorcycle accidents, includes everything. We also handle wrongful death, medical malpractice, which also thankfully ties into Paul's area of the trust and estate area of the practice through his office, the law office of Paul Labiner. So
Do you
it
get
works hand
into
in hand.
product liability at all?
Not really product liability, no. And we don't really handle personal injury protection. It's only 10 grand maximum compensation.
Right.
So it's a little,
And isn't medical malpractice, there's a cap on that too?
there is a cap on that, yeah. So primarily most of our practice lies in auto accidents and slip and falls.
Okay. So, Paul, tell everybody about, now, I didn't even realize you two were together in practice together.
Well, we're in the same
So
office.
the phone number is going to be the same.
No, actually, the phone numbers are different.
Okay. So let me ask Brandon then, what is the phone number if people would like to call you?
Sure.
If there's an injury, give you a call.
Please give me a call.
I want to say this because, I brought up about the billboards and everything. I've actually had people who actually jumped on, they saw them on TV because they think, wow, they must be really good. They're on TV.
Right.
Wrong. The several people I spoke to felt like they were in a factory. They never even met the attorney.
Yeah.
Can you imagine not meeting your client? And they said, you know what? I felt like I was a number.
Yeah. I mean, most of those clients feel as though they met the attorney already because they may see them on Fox before their 8 p.m. programming.
Right.
But they haven't actually met them in person or had a
Exactly.
consultation with them, which is unfortunate.
Okay. So
But,
now, are you married?
I am not married.
Okay.
I am a father of 1 dog, but
Okay.
I am actually dating a veterinarian. So
Okay, so I shouldn't tell the women out there, it's a good-looking kid right here.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Okay, so Dad,
Yes, Steve.
you do estate planning. Wow.
You do? No.
It's tough because you're helping people plan out the future. You deal with families, and some families get, when it comes to money, But first of all, because now that we're on from 6 to 7, we have a whole new audience. Tell everybody about your practice.
Thanks, Steve. Again, it's always a pleasure and delight to be with you.
He knows how to suck up.
And hello and happy holidays to everybody who's
Happy
driving.
Hanukkah.
And
Hanukkah's running a little late this year.
It is,
exactly.
yeah.
And please be safe and enjoy the holidays. So a little bit about my practice. As we've discussed in the past, my practice is really dedicated to helping families and businesses to maximize their wealth. And although estate planning is certainly a part of it, I like to think of my practice more as family planning. It's more in terms of developing a cohesive financial blueprint that addresses a number of issues. Tax planning, estate planning in terms of a distribution plan. Asset protection is becoming a big part of my practice. people are concerned about what will happen to their assets in the event of a dissolution of marriage, what will happen to their children's assets, what will happen in the event of a lawsuit or malpractice, or, we live in a society today where there are many external factors that are totally out of our control. And everybody thinks, well, that's not going to happen to me.
Right.
Okay? That's not going to happen to my family. Well, folks, I'm doing this for 40 years, and I can tell you by experience that it happens to the best of families. With the unfortunate set of circumstances, I met with a family today, for example. Long-standing clients, doctor, wonderful family, but they have some special circumstances. They have a grandchild, not a child, but they have a grandchild who has MS.
Oh, okay.
And we talked about that in
Yes.
some of our previous, programs about, the special needs trust for these, for these children.
And guardianship.
And yes, and, making sure that there is a plan, to ensure that those assets that go to that child eventually are not dissipated by Medicare or Medicaid in terms of his entitlements. He's in California, so the rules are a little bit different there, but the same principle applies. And they're concerned about divorces. A day does not go by. Well, maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but a week does not go by in terms of my practice where a client will not say to me, Paul, under no uncertain terms, do I want that son of a gun sort of son-in-law of mine or that son of a gun daughter-in-law of mine to get my assets?
Right.
And there are ways to accomplish that. So, estate planning, has the negative connotation, well, I need to die, to do that type of planning. My planning is fluid. My planning is predicated on developing a blueprint that can be utilized today in terms of mitigating taxes, preserving assets, and having a flow and easy and productive transfer those assets to their loved ones, children.
And you sure
grandchildren.
don't want to go, if you don't have to, through probate.
Without a
You
doubt.
don't.
Exactly.
It'll delay
It is
things.
crazy. I got, what I almost forgot this I had, because we promote the show on social media. I hope I do this right. We had someone who wanted me to ask you tonight, what is bloodline?
Bloodline.
Bloodline. It has to do with DNA of the family. I'll have, I'm going to write them back again tonight.
Yeah.
They said there's something out new now with estate plan. It's called bloodline, something where I thought it might ring a bell too,
No,
but I'll find out about it.
Okay,
Because,
I'd be interested. But,
yeah,
bloodline
I gave him your
is basically your lineal descendants. I mean, I think that may be what he's referring to, but I've never specifically heard the
and I
terminology.
want to say something else because we have a daughter that special needs, and we're finding out she's autistic. 1 out of 8 kids that are born are autistic. And I'm going to tell you something. You need to get with Paul if they're under 18 years old. Because if you don't do anything, they basically become the ward of the state. And all of a sudden you're like up and on. No one ever told us this. And I got to tell you, with all the autistic kids that are out there, you need to call Paul and see what their rights are and what you can do, and not wait till they become 18.
No,
Did I say that right?
Yeah, but that's an important consideration.
And it was so hard. For
it
us.
certainly dovetails even with with some of the issues that we wanted to chat about today, and which is one of the reasons I bought Brandon in terms of planning with millennials. Because there's lots of young millennials out there, that are getting married, that have children, and the last thing that they want to think about or talk about is their mortality.
Yes.
However, as a young family, they have lots of different things that they need to be concerned about, and Brandon would be glad to share some of those things. But it really relates to many of the aspects as it relates to his special needs, and that is to make sure that you have the proper documentation in place now
For guardianship. I'm saying because there's so many, at least autistic kids out there.
autistic or minors or
Down syndrome. I mean, I can speak personally to the autistic Down syndrome side. I worked at a special needs camp for 2 summers my girlfriend's younger brother is severely autistic. They need some legal documentation that can help support them because they're going to need care for the rest of their lives, most likely.
I got to tell you, if you're a parent out there and you have an autistic child, especially if they're a teenager, don't wait because it's going to shock you. You need to sit down with Paul or Brandon and actually see what your rights are. Don't wait till they turn 18 and you get a letter from the state saying, they're now...
No, it's a serious problem, Steve, and one that needs to be addressed. And, it's an unfortunate set of circumstances that, families have these special
needs. A lot of
needs.
work involved.
Well, there is a lot of work involved, but, it necessitates really developing a cohesive plan.
Okay. We're going to go to break. Give everybody your phone number and your phone number.
Sure. Again, good afternoon. Paul Labiner, I can be reached at 561-998-2362.
And Brandon Labiner with the Personal Injury and Accident Law Center, 561-300-3448 is our fax, and 372-3800 is our phone number. Thanks.
Okay. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back with the Labiners.
The law office of Paul S. Labiner has been providing quality and cost-effective legal advice to professionals, businesses, individuals, and families throughout South Florida, New York, and New Jersey for over 3 decades. Their mission is to provide personalized service which ensures that you, your family, your business, or your assets are safe and protected. Call attorney Paul S. Labiner today, 561-998-2362, and let him begin the creation of a financial blueprint in conformity with your needs, desires, and concerns. It took much effort and hard work for you to enjoy all that you have today, so it only makes sense that you implement strategies to protect and defend it. The law office of Paul S. Labiner, PA, is a reputable law office nestled in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida, that is dedicated to providing you with personalized legal services that meet the specific needs of your family. Attorney Paul S. Labiner designs estate plans that ensure the most effective transfer of wealth, implement policies to mitigate income and estate taxes, and draft wills and trusts to maximize your family's wealth. Call attorney Paul S. Labiner today at 561-998-2362.
We are back for our final 15 minutes. This is the Paul Labiner law firm. He's with his son. Gosh, you should be so proud. I mean, I know you are. His son became an attorney. Brandon works with his dad. He also has his own space. He does PI work, personal injury work, auto accidents, truck accidents, motorcycle accidents. And, it's been such a pleasure working with you, Paul, because you make it so easy to understand. I mean, you're in a very complex business area of law, and it's just been such a pleasure having you as part of the show.
Thank you, Steve.
I'm sure you're proud of your dad, too. Yeah. And what we're talking about today, which I didn't even think about as the millenniums, and putting money away for kids. And, there's grandparents that want to put money away, and we were talking about autistic kids, putting a fund together for their kids because it does get expensive. But there's so much when you sit down with a family and it's mapping this out. And it's got to be tough sometimes because you're talking about, in their mind, something way down the road.
Well, I think the biggest issue, and Brandon, you can chat a little bit about it.
I'll touch on that, Steve, only because millennials aren't necessarily kids. Millennials, at least in terms of they're born, 1982 to 1996, so they're legally adults now, 24 to even 39, some millennials now. So it's important for them to plan for their future, plan for what could happen in the event of an untimely death or a bodily injury in which they're incapacitated, because millennials are now married, parents themselves, mostly to minor children, small business owners, it's important for
How
them
do you
to
get them to think about their future?
honestly, it doesn't matter if you're a millennial who is single like I am, even though I do have a girlfriend, hi Rebecca, but even though single, or even if you have children outside of marriage, or if you're married with children, you have to think about them. You have to think about your property. Single people have animals, they have small businesses that they need to protect. A will and a trust is a great way to do that. But also for your children, you have to make sure that in case something does happen, that they're protected, that your assets can go to them in the future.
Is it hard, though, to get them in that mindset?
Not really. Not
Oh,
for
okay.
for young parents. It's honestly one of the first things that come to mind because they're already thinking about their kids' finance, or they're thinking about their children's education. They want to make sure that as parents, as young parents, if something were to happen, that their children are protected and that their education is paid for. So it's actually not as difficult for them to think about because you have, I mean, I can't take from personal experience, but my best friend has a 7-month-old baby. All they want to do is just think about planning ahead and make sure that she's protected. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, the hot buttons, I think, for the newly married or young adults, the millennials, or any other people, are just certainly naming a guardian. God forbid something happens to them. Who's going to be taking responsibility for that young child? God forbid something was to happen to you. I think that's the thing that brings most young people into my office, and based upon Brandon and I's experience in terms of being able to at least deal with some of the basic planning, and then also to establish a trust for the benefit of their children should something, God forbid, happen to them.
I was just, because we've talked about Prince didn't have a will.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you have that many people helping run your business that they didn't even have a will? And I got to tell you, like yesterday, or was it yesterday in New Jersey? We never know what's going to happen. Here's a kosher little restaurant,
Kosher market, deli,
and,
yeah.
yeah, and
Such a
two
shame.
people just come in and shoot the
them.
place up. I mean, listen, and I'm Jewish, so I can say there's a lot of anti-Semitism out there. There is. You don't ever know. All you know is about today. And there's people walk around with no wills, no plan at all, thinking they're going to be around forever. And you just never know.
Yeah, like I've said before, I mean, all we need is 1% of your time to develop a plan, a cohesive plan, and create a fortress around your assets to protect yourself and your loved ones. God forbid something was to happen,
Right.
whatever that God forbid may be. And there
Because we never know.
because we just never know.
I mean, beyond the devastation of dealing with the death of a family member, a lot of the pain and suffering goes to those people who are tied up in probate proceedings when they aren't prepared, when they don't have a will or trust, or even power of attorney, living will, healthcare surrogate for those of us who are living and need decisions medically and financially to be made when we're not able to do so. That's important as well. That's something that we are able to handle. And it's just when people aren't prepared, that's when most of the difficulty really comes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you, like, God forbid if something happens, you're a father and you've got a family, God forbid something happens to you, and, the wife and kids are there. They don't,
Right.
after you're gone. And it's just, that's why I think what you do is so important. And I'm sure we all wish that people would get even more serious about it.
Yes, it's sometimes not the most pleasant of conversation.
No, you're right.
But we're the catalyst. We know what the problem areas are. We know the right questions to ask, and we have the legal background and experience to be able to create the necessary documents to make sure that those issues, if God forbid they do take place, are properly addressed, and without the need of external factors coming into play, whether it's the probate court, whether it's a creditor, whether it's a divorce situation. I've talked about this in the past. My documents, in the event of my death, don't give outright distributions to my two beautiful children, Brandon and Ariel. There's a trust there. Why? Not that I don't trust them. It has nothing to do with that. It's really more to ensure that the external factors out there, whether it's a divorce or anything else, my
So the
assets
thing
don't go.
about you trusting the dogs more than him, that was just, you were just joking around.
I was
that
just
day.
joking around about that. But I do trust the dogs more than I do.
Paul, give everybody your phone number.
I'd be glad to. Again, I can be reached at 561-998-2362.
And you got such a great website.
By all means, please visit my website at Boca Raton Estateplanning.com.
You know what? It would be a great idea because initial visit, you don't charge.
I do not
for
charge.
that. Just give Paul a call tomorrow. Tell him you'd like to sit down and just hear what he has to say. I think you're going to be very surprised and very happy. And give everybody your phone number also,
Sure.
Brandon.
My number is 561-372-3800. Brandon Labiner, attorney at law. It's for 4 years and planning on into the indefinite future, hopefully.
So when people call you attorney, you go, they talking
You
to
know,
me?
it took some getting used to, but yeah, finally it clicks.
A lot
Sounds
of work.
good.
You know, when people complain about lawyers' fees, they do not realize the 4 years of college, the 3 or 4 years of law school, and sometimes special. They don't realize all it took to get there. And, bro, you did it.
Yeah, thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
I'm glad you brought him today.
Yeah, me
I
too.
was happy to be here.
Listen, we will be back on Monday. It's kind of weird saying that, Monday, from 6 to 7 with more Ask the Experts. And please, please, give Paul a call tomorrow. Do yourself a favor. We will be back next week with more Ask the Experts. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks, guys.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Steve. Happy holidays, everyone.
Take care.